The 5-second board has now been shown. The revs will be starting to rise. The red light, you can see, goes on and it goes out and away we go. And it's a good start from Ben Short from pole position there. Steve Foden, I think, is going to tuck him behind him. So immediately a Ben Short, the double champion in the past in the 5 Club Racing MX5 Cup, makes a bit of a break away from the rest of them. And Steve Foden almost being pushed along there by Tom Smith, who's in 3rd position. Ben Hansey, the number 1 car, the reigning champion, you can see going through in about 6th place. They turn their way through Rich's Corner up towards Wilson for the first time. So Short not in shot, but he's in the lead. Steve Foden 2nd, Tom Smith 3rd. Jason Graytrex trying to go alongside him by the looks of it as they head out of Wilson and through Chapman for the first time.
Everything was continuing up on the inside line. Nobody out the front group took the outside line, and that I think caught Ben Hansey out a bit, who bumped into the back of Stuart Simmons, but they all got away with that without too much of a drama. So down the Bentley Straight they go. You can see in the mid-pack there 2 and 3 are wide, but pretty much line astern for the leaders as they turn their way into Brundle for the first time. The conditions look very good, don't they? It's hardly damp now, so we should get some good racing. And you can see there 154, that's Marcus Bailey trying to come up from that poor result yesterday. And in the pack you've got some good racing here. You've got Philip Andrew Barrett trying to go around the outside here with Jake Dormer, and it's a bit damp offline there as he ran wide, but he's actually got the move done. It's a good move there from him, but it's Ben Short up front with Steve Foden, and the 2 of them are getting away from the pack behind, just like they did yesterday.
Possibly you have a point there in that it might still be a bit damp offline, so overtaking could be a bit more difficult than it normally would be, certainly for the first race or two today, assuming it does dry out as the forecast says it will. So it's Short leading, Foden in 2nd, Tom Smith is in 3rd place, number 41, as they make their way across the start and finish line. In 4th place, number 38, Stuart Simmons. 5th is number 1, Ben Hansey. 6th is number 72, Matthew Short. Then Marcus Bailey, number 154, is 7th, and Callum Graytrex 8th. This is Stuart Simmons, and it's Ben Hansey that was trying to get alongside him and go past him up into Wilson, but he was on the outside line and he couldn't make that work. Just
ahead of them is Jason Graytrex, who's not showing up on the scoring tower, so that car's got a transponder not working correctly. So this is actually the battle for 5th and 6th positions, with that Graytrex car just ahead. And Hansey's pulled out of the toe, trying to go to the outside now as Stuart Simmons, and goes through. So good exit there to Chapman Curve, and Ben Hansey gets into what is actually now 5th position, ahead of Stuart Simmons and Matthew Short right behind, side by side here, as Callum Graytrex gets ahead there of Marcus Bailey. So Marcus Bailey, instead of gaining positions, has lost one behind Declan McDonnell in his debut MX5 weekend, loses a place, and that's to Adrian Johnson, who's having a good run here. He finished much further back yesterday, 13th.
Yeah, so Declan McDonnell there in the number 4 car. Just behind is the number 47, the lime green car of Stephen Craggs as well. He's been a long time MX5 competitor too. Turning their way through Murray's again for the 2nd time. Yesterday we got 10 laps out of the 15 minutes, so probably get the same again, maybe 9 laps, just depending on whether the dampness has an effect on the lap times. But Declan McDonnell, you can see in the James Tucker Racing run car, normally runs cars for Declan's stepson Joe Wiggin, who's a front runner in another Mazda MX5 championship. But here's Ben Hansey, and he's now going after Tom Smith then, isn't he?
That's because Jason Graytrex has got past Smith for 3rd, and I think Smith's about to lose another to Hansey.
He is, isn't he? He's on the inside line, is Hansey. Smith are just a bit wide there, and a couple of cars behind him. He's got Matthew Short, Ben's father. Smith is going to try and get back ahead of Hansey even. He's going to use the toe along the Bentley Straight to try and make that work. But here's Ben Short in the lead. He jinks this way and that just to try and break the toe from number 77, Steve Foden. These two are a long way clear of the rest. Jason Graytrex in 3rd place. Ben Hansey now 4th. He's kept Tom Smith at bay in 5th, and Stuart Simmons in 6th.
Good to see Foden going with Short, as we saw in yesterday's race. As you say, those two are the class of the field here at Snetterton. 3 cars absolutely together, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Jason Graytrex now there and out wide. That was at Stuart Simmons in 6th position. He got back on the circuit though without losing too much time. Through Coram comes the 3 cars in this battle for 3rd position, being headed by Jason Graytrex. They turn their way into Murray. Hansey a bit tighter line for him through there, so he's got a good run, a good exit from Ben Hansey. Now is he going to challenge Jason Graytrex down the centre straight and up towards Richie's corner? So the top 2 there blast through, just 4 tenths of a second apart. Fastest lap for the 2nd place car is Steve Foden, 1 minute 31.0. And into Richie's comes this battle of third. Hansey unable to make a move.
So far, and Jason Greatrex is now showing on our timing screens as well. You can see there, if you're on the live stream, on the left-hand side of your screen. If you want to get the live timing, you can get that as well via the 750 Motor Club website, 750mc.co.uk. 4 cars then disputing third position. Greatrex, Hansey, Smith and Simmons make their way through Chapman and onto the Bentley Straight once again. This is now lap number 4 of the race. And Tom Smith there just falling a few car lengths behind Ben Hansey. I think he may have just possibly lost the toe. And therefore we'll have to switch to defence from Stuart Simmons in the number 38 car. There's a bit of a gap back then to Matthew Short, but this is Hansey now going for third place on the inside line at Brundle. He's got his car through on the inside, so nicely done. Ben Hansey, his weekend seems to be getting a bit better as it goes along.
Yeah, he didn't qualify so well, did he? And now he's up there into third position on this 4th lap of the race, but he's 5 seconds away from the 2 leaders, so I think he'll be making sure he doesn't get passed by the chasers. And the first of those now is Jason Greatrex. Very experienced MX5 racer, isn't he, Greatrex? Been racing for a long time. I think other cars before that too.
Fiat's he used to race, and Mini Challenge I think he did for a while.
Right, so yeah, lots of experience there. Hansey up over the curbs sideways. That was a Mini Challenge type of line, wasn't it? From Hansey, but he's put a bit of gap between him and Greatrex. So really good drive this from Ben Hansey, who has been racing MX5 now for a few years, but gets better and better every season. And across the line they go, and he's got a few attempts ahead of Greatrex. That toe now working for Greatrex to get him back towards Hansey as they get into Ritchie's to start lap 5 of this race. And Ben Short up front just now breaking away from Steve Foden.
Yeah, he is. About 9/10 of a second is the gap. There is the 22 car. That's Adrian Johnson, been racing in this championship for a little while now with his son Jordan, who was a bit further down the order. He's in 28th position at the moment. Jordan was, he was on one occasion a race winner, I think, last year as well. So certainly a regular visitor to the top 6.
Jordan Johnson had a retirement yesterday, I think, so to start from the back, which is partly the reason why he's so far down.
There's Ian Tomlinson. He was second in the championship last year, car number 9, and he is chasing after number 67, David Abbott, now, as they head along the Bentley Straight. That's a bit further outside the top 10. Tomlinson, again, someone would expect to see a bit closer up to the sharp end. Meanwhile, that's Declan McDonnell, Marcus Bailey, and now getting involved as well is the number 8 car of Richard Baxter, who's a little bit sideways on the exits of Nelson. They head towards the bomb hole now. So he's doing battle with 22, Adrian Johnson at the moment. But Baxter, someone who started 14th, so he's made up 3 places, I think, during the course of the race.
I think he's a former radical racer, Richard Baxter. Marcus Bailey hasn't made the progress that yesterday's pace would suggest, has it? And Declan McDonald too, further away from the leaders, which I'm sure he'll be quite disappointed with. We had a good race yesterday, running in that battle towards the front, but him and Bailey are holding each other up.
Meanwhile, for the lead, you've got Steve Foden catching Ben Short again. The gap down to 0.6 of a second, so we'll try and pick up on that in a moment. I think if Steve Foden could take the fight to Ben Short, that would be a bit of an upset. Short has won lots and lots of these at MX5 Cup by 5 club races over the last few seasons. Whether he's done a full championship campaign or occasionally dipped in as a visitor, he has probably won comfortably more than anybody else. Here's Marcus Bailey being put under pressure by Richard Baxter, who's on the outside line. He's trying to stay in there, but no. We've seen a few times this weekend where people have tried to make a move on the exit at Chapman, but it's not really a great overtaking opportunity, is it?
It's more awkward than anything, and it loses you time on the exit of the corner, and that's what's happened to Baxter. And now Adrian Johnson is challenging. It's about the third, though. That's Ben Hansey, still ahead of Jason Greatrex and Tom Smith, but not getting away. And you mentioned earlier Stuart Simmons lost the slipstream, and that means he's falling away from these 3 cars. And Matthew Short is pretty much with him. So you've got a 2-car battle there for 6th and 7th. Here are the leaders, and there he's sideways, Ben Short. And certainly Steve Foden gets closer and closer, and that slide from Short, has that lost him momentum, I wonder, down the centre straight to start lap 7 now. Will we see a challenge here from Steve Foden? I don't think he's quite close enough for that, but he's certainly getting the toe all the way down into Ritchie's. But going with Short is going to be one thing, but actually getting past him might be quite another.
And these two quite a long way clear of the rest, and Foden giving it everything as he goes through Ritchie's, but loses time because of that. So it's number 71, Ben Short, leading. 77, Steve Foden in 2nd place. In 3rd place is number 1, Ben Hansey. 4th is number 41, Tom Smith. 5th is 38, Stuart Simmons. 6th is 72, Matthew Short. And again, Foden was having a go there, and that illustrates quite nicely the gap that these two have pulled out over the rest, with Tom Smith and Jason Greatrix there. So Smith ahead of Greatrix, who's dropped off the timing tower again, I'm afraid, with those transponder issues. But he is there. He's now in 5th place, and he's trying to get 4th place back from Tom Smith, who's almost pushing down the Bentley Straight.
You can certainly see off of Chapman Curve, offline there, it is pretty damp still. So whether that's why we're not seeing as much challenging underneath the vehicle bridge and into Brundle as we saw yesterday is quite a possibility. So you can hear the squealing of tyres on the camera effects, because the driver's really pushing on, and pushing on here is Richard Baxter, who's got past Marcus Bailey and is trying to get ahead of Declan McDonald here for what is 8th position. Out of Nelson they turn, and up towards the bomb hole they go, and up the inside. Luke Baxter couldn't go through though, so McDonald hanging on in P8, and again to the inside through Coram Curve. A brave challenger from Baxter, but he just had to put the brakes on to avoid contact with McDonald, and he's going to follow him through the corner. Marcus Bailey dropping away. I wonder if some drivers here have put a wet setup on here, because not that long ago the track was pretty wet, and if they're struggling because the track's much drier than they expected.
Possibly so. There we go with, what have we got, about 4 minutes of the race left to go now, something like that. This midfield pack coming across the line. There is the 8 car of Richard Baxter in 8th position. Number 4, Declan McDonald just behind him in 9th place. But you're right, I think the changing conditions has probably caught a few people out today.
Yeah, because it's tried out quicker than I was expecting, that's for sure. There's McDonald. He got a bit of a dent in the side of his car. Meanwhile, round the outside at Wilson, hairpin tries Johnson, but again that move just doesn't work. And behind him going well is Howard Lancashire, car number 17, who's back with 5 Club for this weekend, having a good run. Here, side by side. This is Matthew Shaw trying to get past Stuart Simmons. This is what is for 6th and 7th positions, this battle. So Matthew Shaw, he's having a good weekend here at Snetterton, isn't he? Perhaps a bit further up the order than we've seen from him in previous seasons.
Yep, absolutely. So Matt Short there, chasing after the 38 car of Stuart Simmons, 5th and 6th on our time tower, 6th and 7th once you factor in Jason Greatrix. I think he's probably going to end up doing most of the 750 Motor Club, 5 Club MX5 Cup season this year. 38 car of Simmons then, heading back past the pit lane entrance onto the centre straight. We've probably got just 2 laps to go now, haven't we? They'll be starting their penultimate lap here, lap 9 of a 10-lap race.
Big challenge from Tom Smith there on Ben Hansey, unable to do anything about it though, I think, into Ritchie's. That moment we saw from Steve Foden a couple of laps ago at Ritchie's, I think, is what's dropped him away from Ben Short again, over a second for the first time in this race. Meanwhile, as the cars come across the line, notice Marcus Bailey's lost another place by the looks of things, this time to Howard Lancashire. So Bailey down to 12th after qualifying 3rd in yesterday's qualifying session. The battle of a 3rd here, heading down the Bentley Straight. Bit of a bigger battle perhaps for 6th, because having feeling the need to defend is the car Stuart Simmons. Here's the battle a bit further back. Adrian Johnson's lost some positions, hasn't he? Because he was battling up with Declan McDonald a moment ago. He's going side by side with Stephen Craggs in car 47, who's got a better run down the Bentley Straight. And just ahead of them there we saw was the car of Dan Blake, sorry. So Dan Blake's got ahead of both of them in that battle. So Blake's up to 15th. Just ahead of all of them is David Abbott, who's been passed by Ian Tomlinson. So Tomlinson up to 13th. I think we saw him have a problem yesterday. Yeah. So he's come through the field and further back on the grid. And
Blake obviously must have lost some ground, because he started on row 6, so he's lost some ground and has been regaining it then during the course of this race. Dan Blake in the number 27 car. Over the line goes that little scrap for 3rd, 4th and 5th. Hansey and Tom Smith almost side by side for 3rd position there, but it's Smith that's got the place into Rich's corner, and this is now the final lap of the race, and Short and Steve Foden about 10 seconds ahead of them already, making their way onto the Bentley Straight. But this is the fight for 3rd place. There's 2.2 seconds between the leaders, by the way, but Greatrix now down to 5th place, having been running in 3rd for a while, and Simmons and Matthew Short in 6th and 7th, still having a great fight there, just ahead of Callum Greatrix, Richard Baxter and Declan McDonald, who rounds out the top 10 at the moment.
Ben Short's just done the fastest lap of the race, so 1 minute 29.94, which is almost a second faster than anybody else has done in the race. Ben Hansey, by the way, is challenging Tom Smith again round the outside into Brundle. They will run side by side then into Nelson. That will give him the inside line for the right-hander. He hops over the curbs on the inside, and that has potentially given Jason Greytrek to run out the corner. It hasn't in the end, but Tom Smith loses the place, and Ben Hansey gets back into third. So that position's changed twice within a lap.
That Ben Short lap time faster than yesterday, and a lap record as well. So he's taking the lap record away there from himself, it would seem. Anyway.
Ben Hansey's chucked away third position as he at the last corner of the race.
Will he get back on the road? Meanwhile, having taken the checkered flag, has gone Ben Short's win by 3 seconds from Steve Foden. But who is going to be third? It's going to be a drag race line. We had a few of these yesterday. I think it's just Hansey, isn't it, that holds on from Tom Smith by a fraction of a second, and Jason Greytrek's fifth. 5 100ths between Ben Hansey and Tom Smith. Jason Greytrek's only 1500ths behind. But it was lucky for Ben Hansey that he was able to hold on, because that was quite a big mistake he made over this.
Yeah, he was definitely all 4 wheels over the white line, wasn't he, Ben Hansey? All over the grass, but he kept his foot in, he pounced back onto the circuit and kept enough momentum to get to the line in front. If the line was much further down the circuit, I don't think that would have been the case, but check flag went out on Ben Hansey on the podium for the first time this weekend. He took 14 podium finishes last season on his way to the championship. But good drive from him, because he came from a bit further back on the grid. But once again, it is Ben Short that wins. Not sure how many races he's planning to do this year. I think he started the season off last year, didn't he? Won at Castle Combe, but I don't think we saw too much of him since then. He's doing traditional Ben Short sideways action on the slowing down lap.
Brilliant stuff. So let's run down the result for you. Number 71, Ben Short, it was that took the win, and he was 2.92 seconds clear of number 77, Steve Foden, in second place. In third place, number 1, Ben Hansey. Fourth, number 41, Tom Smith. Fifth was number 35, Jason Greytrex. Sixth, number 38, Stuart Simmons. Seventh, number 72, Matthew Short. Eighth was number 34, Callum Greytrex. Ninth was number 8, Richard Baxter. And 10th was number 4, that was Declan McDonnell. And the best lap of the race, going to Ben Short, a 1 minute 29.94. And that's an average speed of 79.42 miles an hour. And as I say, that is a new lap record, and he previously held the lap record as well. Still one more race to come for the 5 Club Racing MX5 Cup this afternoon, which we will look forward to. But in a few moments' time, we'll be turning our attention to low costs and the Demon Tweaks Yokohama Low Cost Championship, who, like the Mazdas, have a triple header here this weekend. So heading down the pit lane now, a little bit less sideways, into the clutches of our pit lane interview. So we will hand down for the first time today to Anthony Jordan, who is going to talk to Ben Short.
Well, live in the pit lane, we've got Ben Short, double race winner then for this weekend here at Snetterton, as he jumps out the car. Now, Ben, a quick word for you. We'll keep the help, don't worry about it. So, from start to finish, that looked like a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, it was. Steve Foden, 77's obviously upped his game since yesterday, and he seemed much more on it at the start, but his cars just seemed to drop off again at the end. But I hope the rest of the team did well, because I think I've got Tom Smith and Ben Hansey, bit of inter-team rivalry, so I think their orders swapped round this time, so hopefully they had a good race.
Excellent. Again, track conditions, they've been a bit of the main subject today, with it being wet this morning. It's dried off now. It still looks a bit slippery, though, up at the hairpin.
So where it's slippy is under the bridge on the fast left-hander, which paid to my advantage, because I think Steve had a bit of a look round the outside in the earlier laps, and I knew it wasn't going to pan out because it was still damp there. But track must be dry now, because I think that was a little bit quicker than our quali times yesterday. So if it doesn't rain, you should see some quick times for this afternoon.
Excellent. So you had your fastest lap on about the 9th lap, so it looked at the end there, you really pulled the pin, trying to open that gap up as much as you could.
Yeah, well, the lads said to me that we had the tyres going off a little bit yesterday on some of the customer cars, so they said we've had a bit of a tweak and they won't come on till late, and about lap 6 the car just transformed and couldn't do anything wrong, really.
Excellent stuff. Well, again, a double win for this weekend. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.